In some ways, I kind of get the point he's trying to make in the sense that, you know, when you frankly look at some people, I always name footballers as an example, who earn an astronomical sum of money, and MPs in many ways are more important than footballers. But at the same time, I mean, it's not grim living on 80 grand a year, is it?
I think the problem is not so much that it's grim, but that 80,000 a year is actually just not that much for the sort of talent we want in this role. If we're talking about the 650 people best qualified to be running this country, to be setting economic policy, to be making these decisions which have a huge impact on our standard of living, we're not, the correct comparison here is not the average wage, it's the wage they might earn somewhere else. I'm sure the Taxpayers Alliance will be able to tell you, the NHS has recently been hiring managers up to 270,000 a year. If you are a director at local council level running housing or social policy, you can comfortably expect to earn 100 to 154,000 pounds in London. We pay our MPs 80,000 a year. It's a good wage. It's probably not good enough to always attract the sort of person we want into that. We want to attract this talent. I also want to just briefly point out that if we were to introduce performance-related pay, you would need to find a way of making sure that does actually incentivize taking the long-term decisions that lead to growth. Because if they're going to go through something highly electorally unpopular like planning reform, which actually would make a meaningful difference to living standards, which actually could add double-digit sums to our national GDP, by the time that comes through and we start seeing the effect of that policy, it's going to have been 4 years. It may have cost you some votes. It may have cost you your seat. So you have to be able to make sure you can actually attribute to those individuals those decisions. And I think it's just a much smoother system to pay enough in the first place to attract top quality talent into the role.
That's a fair point, isn't it, Danielle, that actually when you look at what potentially some MPs could be earning, it is less than in other sectors. And if we want good governance, frankly, like any other industry, you have to pay for it. And that means higher wages.
Well, Sam mentioned some examples there that were also in the public sector, and we're not saying that it's okay that those individuals are paid that amount of money. In fact, we like to see, council chief executives on over £100,000 a year. We'd like to see that brought down so that it's more in line with what the public expects, and particularly when council services aren't particularly very good at the moment. I mean, one example that Peter Bottomley mentioned was the GP salary. Now, it's kind of a misleading figure, actually, that he mentioned, the £100,000 average for GPs. That also includes GPs that run their practices as well. So they take a bit of a profit from running those. But salaried GPs actually only earn £60,000 or just over that. So the figure that he mentions there is a slightly misleading figure for GPs pay at the moment. But no, I don't think it should attract top talent just because of the money is good. The point of being an MP is that it's a very privileged position. You're representing the people where you live. It's a point of public service. It shouldn't be about how much money you earn. And indeed, there's lots of people that have been earning high salaries that have chosen to leave those jobs in order to go into public life. Take Keir Starmer, for example. He was a top lawyer. He left that job to become an MP, and look where he is now. He's the leader of the opposition. So I don't think that it's the case that people would be attracted by a high salary. I think what they should be attracted by is that duty, that public service that comes with it.